Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. Hope I am audible. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Vangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today we are overviewing the 11th chapter of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The 11th chapter is Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka. That is the subject matter of the 11th chapter of the first canto. Madega bandho matsangin madguru manmahadhana mannistaraka madbhagya madanandanamostute. 11th chapter of the first canto speaks about the reactions of Dwarakawasis as Lord Sri Krishna is arriving there. The 11th chapter has 39 shlokas where Sutta Goswami is explaining to the sages of Naimisharanya what was the scene when Lord Krishna was going back to Dwaraka, because we must understand the background wherein Lord is going back to Dwaraka after quite some time, because Lord had gone to Hastinapura and Kurukshetra and he is returning back after the war. So it has been quite some time since the Dwarakavasis have seen their Lord. So unlike us, these are all great devotees of the Lord. So they are unable to bear the separation from their worshipable Lord. So when the Lord is going back, it is quite natural that they show great enthusiasm, they express great happiness and transcendental bliss as Krishna is coming back to Dwaraka. So as Lord is arriving to Dwaraka, when he reaches the borders of Dwaraka, the Lord will blow his conch shell to make aware to all the Dwarakavasis that I have come. So the Lord will blow his Panchajanya conch shell, and Sutta Goswami says that the white conch shell in the hands of Krishna, when it touched the lips of Krishna, that conch shell became, reddish in hue. And the analogy given is when a swan is playing in the midst of red lotuses. Suddenly, when you look at it, the swan will look like, having a reddish hue because of all the red lotuses that are surrounding the swan, although the swan is, brilliantly white in complexion. So similarly, as the Lord blew the conch shell, which was white in color, as it touched his lips, the transcendental lips of the Lord, he touched with his lips on the conch shell to blow in order for the Dwarakavasis to know that their Lord has come. And then the citizens, as they heard the conch shell, the Shankar Dwani emanating from the Lord's Panchajanya, it is that sound, it is said, it is described by Sutta Goswami that that is sound that threatens fear personified. As the Lord blows his Panchajanya, the Shankar Dwani, even fear will become afraid. That is the nature of the Lord's conch shell sound. But at the same time, that same conch shell sound, same Shankar Dwani gives great pleasure to Bhagavan's devotees. We see this in Bhagavad Gita also. As the Lord is blowing on his Panchajanya, it is written that the supporters of Duryodhana, their hearts were broken as they heard the sound emanating from the Panchajanya of Lord Krishna. Because for them, that was like the blowing of the death knell, And for the devotees, it gave great pleasure and hope. The Pandavas and the Pandava army, as soon as Krishna took his Panchajanya and blew it, they knew this is heralding victory. And on Duryodhana's side, everybody, their hearts were broken. So here also the Lord is blowing his conch shell to let Dwarakawasis know that here I come, and that increase their transcendental happiness unlimitedly. And it is said that the citizens all welcomed the Lord with various presentations. Whatever, according to their stature, the citizens of Dwaraka were presenting different presentations, sammana in front of the Lord, to honor. And it is said that the Lord is the owner of everything. So he does not need any presentation from his praja, But just like we in the morning, when they are worshipping in the morning sandhya, an offering of a lamp also is made to the rising sun, So does the sun require the light that is coming, the small light that is coming from the lamp? Not at all required, but it is accepted as an offering of devotion, as an offering of love. So similarly, whatever we are presenting in front of Krishna, we should always know that Krishna does not need it. Krishna does not need it, but by giving that, by making that presentation to Krishna, actually we are showing our love and devotion towards Krishna. And that is seen by Krishna, So the Lord was not looking at the value of the presentation, the material value of the presentation. Why? Because the Lord does not need anything material, And this is a very underlying principle of offering to Lord Krishna. We must understand. We need not think that we are giving something very great. We are giving away something very big to Krishna. It is not like that. Because Krishna does not require any of these things. He is Atma Rama. He is Atma Rama. He is happy within himself, by himself. But the devotees make offerings to Krishna as an expression of love, as an expression of devotion. So that is how we have to see it. Any presentation that we make to Krishna is made out of our love. And Dwarakavasis, as we are discussing, they are all transcendently situated personalities. All Dwarakavasis are actually, they have all descended from the original Dwaraka in the spiritual realm. They have all descended here to engage in this Leela with the Lord. So They are all so happy that our Lord has come back, and they all start speaking, with ecstasy, so much of ecstasy. And they are talking about, because Dwarakawasis are used to seeing the Aishwarya Bhava of Krishna. Dwaraka Krishna represents total Aishwarya of the Supreme Personality of God. And Vrindavan Krishna is the ultimate total, sum total of sweetness, Madhurya. In Dwaraka, Krishna is exhibiting the sum total of Aishwarya, greatness, supremacy that's incomparable, So the Dwarakavasis are, glorifying Krishna, saying that you are worshipped by all demigods. You are the ultimate rest for those who aspire for the highest benefit of life. Even inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon the Lord. So the Lord, who is beyond inevitable time. So in many a place in Srimad Bhagavatam, we will find that when Krishna is glorified, that time cannot exert its influence upon the Lord. In fact, the Supreme Lord is the only person who is beyond time. It's actually Supreme Lord's one manifestation is as time. Supreme Lord's one manifestation is time. That is why nobody is able to overcome. There is nobody who has won over time factor by their own effort. But if by dint of our devotional service and by mercy of Guru and Krishna, if we attain the spiritual world, Bhagavad Dhama, if we go back home, back to Godhead, then no time factor there. Srila Prabhupada explains, time factor is conspicuous by its absence in the spiritual world. So that does not mean there is no sunrise, there is no sunset, not like that. But actually they have no impact on the Vaikuntavasis. In the material realm, as we know, as sun rises and sets, everybody's ayu is taken away. Ayur harati vaipupsam. Ayu is taken away as sun rises and sun sets every day. But in the spiritual realm, no time factor. So here, Dwarakavasis are glorifying their worshipable Lord Krishna, that you are the ultimate resting place for those who aspire for the highest benefit of life. And what is the highest benefit of life? The resting place for those who aspire for the highest benefit of life is how the Dwarakavasis are glorifying Krishna. Highest benefit of life is to attain service at the lotus feet of Krishna. So, who is the resting place, ultimate resting place for those people who aspire for that? Krishna's lotus feet only. Then they are saying that you are the creator, you are the father, you are the mother, you are the Lord, you are the well-wisher, you are the guru, you are our worshipable deity. Bhavaya nastvam bhava vishwa bhavana tvameva madhata suhrutpatih pita tvam sadgurorna paramam cha daivatam yasyānuvritya kritino babhuvima. Bhavasya nastvam bhava vishwa bhavana tvam eva matatha suhrit pati pita. You are mata, you are suhrit, you are pati, you are pita. Tvam sadgurur, you are the guru. And you are our supreme worshipable paramam cha daivatam. And yasyānuvritya kritino babhuvima. By following your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We therefore pray to you. What? Please continue to bless us with your mercy. Vishwa Bhavana. So, the Dwarakavasis are great examples for us to follow. The Dwarakavasis are great example for us to follow, because they are saying simply by following your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. So this is another great lesson for all of us to understand that if we follow the footsteps that is shown by Krishna, we will also become successful in every respect. So we must also always remember what is our success. Again, success is what? Success is to escape this tabernacle of repeated birth and death. Success is to never come back into another material body. Success is ultimately to get into the eternal service, personal service of the Supreme Personality of God. So in order to have that success, yasya anuvrittaya, we should do anuvritti. We should simply follow the footsteps, simply follow the path that is shown to us by Krishna. And then they are also talking about their good fortune. Aho sanatha bhavatasma yadvayam traivishtapanam apidura darshanam prema smita snigdha nirikshananam pashyema rupam tava sarva saubhagam. They are talking now about having that rare darshan of the smiling face of Krishna. Prema smita snigdha nirikshananam. You know, to be able to personally see the smiling face of Krishna. It is our good luck that we have again come today under your protection by your presence. Aho sanata. You know, they are, for them, as far as Dwarakawasis are concerned, they have only one Natha. They have only one Prabhu, and that is their Lord Krishna. So they are saying, by your presence, we have come again under your protection. Although Traivishtapanam Apidura Darshanam, although your Lordship is rarely visited even by the denizens of heaven, Pashyema Rupam, Pashya, to see Rupam, yours. You know, now it is possible for us to look upon your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form. So just imagine the transcendental form of the Lord that is all auspicious. The darshan of the Lord is the ultimate in auspiciousness. So they are saying that, hey Lord, we are lucky. We are seeing, you know, that mandasmita. That means that, you know, small, gentle smile on Krishna's face, along with the most gracious glance on his devotees, you know. So as the devotee is looking at the lotus face of Krishna, he is at the same time able to see that kataksha, that bhakta vatsalya in the eyes of Krishna, along with that mandasmita. He is also able to see that beautiful smile of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada speaks in the purport about the personal form of Krishna. And Prabhupada says, with these descriptions, how can anyone say that this Supreme Lord, that this Supreme Absolute Truth has no personal feature? How can anyone say something like this? You know, because the Dwarakawasis are explaining it so graphically. You know, it is so graphically presented by the Dwarakawasis, you know, that it is our, you know, great fortune that we are able to look at your face and, you know, we can see you looking at us. So this great good fortune is available only for pure devotees like the Dwarakawasis. This is what we must understand. You know, so the good fortune always belongs to the devotee of the Lord. Krishna Bhakta is ultimately having the highest saubhagya. We should know that. You know, we shouldn't think that getting some material saubhagya is all in all. No, not at all. The real Saubhagya, the real good fortune is to actually have the darshan of the Lord. The real Saubhagya is to be able to behold the smiling face of Krishna in our eyes. You know. Now, as it continues, the explanation continues, we will see. And the Dwarakawasis are saying that whenever you are going to Mathura or Hastinapura, for us, every moment, every nimisha is like, millions of years. And our eyes actually become useless, they're saying. So this is how devotees think, that if I'm not able to see the Lord, then my eyes are useless. If I'm not able to listen about the Lord, if I'm not able to hear the lotus, the transcendental name of the Lord, then my ears are useless. So as far as the devotee is concerned, the senses are there only to serve the Lord. And if they are not able to put those senses in the service of the Lord, they consider those senses useless. So that is what is expressed by the Dwarakawasis here. And they're saying, existence becomes difficult when we are separated from you. And without seeing your smiling face that vanquishes all our sufferings, how can we remain alive? So they're basically saying that our life is dependent upon seeing you, serving you. Again, the bhava of the Dwarakavasis are being very nicely explained by Sutta Goswami in the shlokas, where the Lord's agamana into Dwaraka is being discussed, but the highlight of it all is the bhava of the Dwarakavasis, the bhakti of the Dwarakavasis, the servitor mood of the Dwarakavasis. The mood of the devotee who has actually taken surrender, who has actually taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. He has surrendered and taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. So that bhava is getting expressed here. And then the city of Dwaraka is described, how it is protected by the Vrishnis and it is full of opulences in all seasons, and everywhere there are festive signs, flags, garlands, and shade trees, very beautifully decorated Dwaraka city, because Krishna is arriving, and the roads were all cleaned, and there was scented water thrown all over the road, auspicious fruits everywhere, and every house in Dwaraka, it is said that is prepared to worship the Lord. And then it goes on to explain how the Lord is, received. It is said that all relatives, they abandoned all their activities and rushed to welcome the Lord. Because many Dwarakavasis are also Vrishnis, they're all related to the Lord in some capacity or the other. And they are all offering respects, and it is not only just offering respect, it is also offering respect along with affection, because that familial affection is also there as a Vrishni. So like that also they are expressing their affection, they are offering their respects, and so many people, they were all assembled there to meet the Lord, and they did various cultural performances, dances and songs and everything to welcome the Lord. And Lord Krishna then duly honored everyone and properly, yatha vidhi, it is said, that properly according to how they should be honored back in reciprocation. Krishna took great care, he bowed down to somebody, greeted somebody, embraced somebody, shook hands, looking at them, smiling at them, assuring them, giving some benedictions to some others. So depending on who and who Krishna was meeting, he was reciprocating to all the reception, the wonderful reception filled with affection that was received by Krishna, that Krishna was reciprocating in the same way. And then the Lord entered the city accompanied by his elderly relatives, and invalid Brahmanas with their wives, all singing glories of the Lord. So the people who were gone closest to the Lord were all the elderly people and the invalid Brahmanas. So again, because Lord gave them special consideration, we understand from this. So they were the ones closest to Lord, and they were going. And then the Lord's beauty, that is also explained here. Because the ladies, all the Stri, in the previous chapter we saw how the Kauravendra Purastriyana, they were talking to each other. Here all the Dwaraka, all the Stri Jana of Dwaraka, they all went on their rooftops, to see. And although the Dwarakavasis were able to regularly have darshana of the Supreme Lord, still they never felt satiated. They were not satisfied. Nityam nirikshamananam yadyab dwarakaukasam na vitrupyanti hidrishaha sriyo dhamangamachutam. Because that the body of the Lord is the infallible Lord, is so full of beauties. It is actually called as the reservoir of everything beautiful, the Lord's body. So it is said that because the Lord was so beautiful, even though the Dwarakavasis were always able to see the Lord, they were never satiated. Next, it continues to describe the beauty and the Aishwarya of the Lord. Shriyo nivaso yasyoraha panapatram mukham drisham bahavo lokapalanam saranganam padambujam. Shriyo nivaso yasyoraha, that the Lord's chest is the abode of Shri. Shri means Lakshmi Devi. Panapatram mukham drisham, the Lord's mukham, it is said that it's like a panapatram. It means a drinking vessel for the eyes. A drinking vessel which is, there is always something to drink from it. So it is that face of the Lord is so beautiful. Bahavo lokapalana. And the Lord is actually the resting place for all the devatas. Saranganam padambujam, and his lotus feet are the refuge for the pure devotees. So the Lord's chest is where Shri, that is why the Lord is called Srinivasa. He is the abode of Lakshmi. Srinivasa means, that is Shri of Pati, the Lord is called. That means he is the Pati of Shri. So just imagine. So the Lord being the abode of Lakshmi Devi, he is full of Aishwarya, and his face is so beautiful that the eyes of the beholder can keep on drinking the beauty of the Lord. And his Bahu, resting place for all the devatas, and his lotus feet is refuge for all those pure devotees of the Lord. So such a Lord is seen by Dwarakavasis every day. And it goes on to further describe the Lord's beauty as he is walking along the road of Dwaraka. Sitatapatra vyajjanair upaskrita prasura varshair abhivarshitah pati pisangavasa vanamalaya babau ghano yadharko dupachaba vaidyutai. He is having Sitatapatra. He is having a white umbrella, and he is having feathered fans, and flowers are showered upon him. Pisangavasa, he is dressed in yellow garments. Vanamalaya, he is having a beautiful flower garland. And the Lord's complexion is like Ghano, means a dark cloud. So the Lord is dressed in Pisangavasa, and that is like, on that black body, the Meghashama body of the Lord, that Pita Vastra is said to be like Vaidyuti. means like a lightning, you know. And he's wearing Varamali, he's wearing Varamala that is like Chapa, that is like a rainbow on his body. And that white umbrella that is being held for the Lord is like the sun. And the various colored feathered fans are moving around the Lord like the moon. So this is how the Lord walking on the streets of Dwaraka, and how beautiful that whole scene is. That is being explained so wonderfully. And then the Lord is finally coming and entering Dwaraka and entering to the palace, you know. And first, the Lord will enter the palace of Vasudeva. And it is said that the mothers led by Devaki, it is said. Because Vasudeva had 18 wives and Devaki was the chief queen of Vasudeva. But it is said that along with Devaki, all the other 17 mothers of Krishna also showed equal Matru Vatsalya towards Krishna. And it is explained here that Devaki Mata, she saw Krishna and she took him, she embraced him, put him on her lap. Just imagine, Krishna is no more a small baby. Now he is king of Dwaraka. But when he comes to see Mata Devaki, after paying obeisance, she is taking him, she is holding him, and she is keeping him on her lap. And it is said that even at that time, her breasts were overflowing with mother's milk because so much of Vatsalya she had. Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna, while he was in Vrindavana, as he would go near any of the mother cows in Vrindavana, all of them will immediately start, their udders will overflow and milk will flow out. That is the effect Krishna had even on the cows in Vraja. So Prabhupada says, any living entity will be overflowing with love for Krishna, just like these cows in Vraja. All these mothers, the wives of Vasudeva, how they had, their breasts were overflowing. It is basically not something material. It is a transcendental Matru Vatsalya that is flowing in the form of mother's milk. You see. And this kind of Vatsalya, a living entity in a position of mother can only show towards Krishna. This is how the transcendental relationship between the Lord and the devotee is inexplicable. And this is how it manifests, we must understand. And then from there, Krishna will go to his palaces, to meet his wives. So it is said that the Lord entered his palaces where 16,108 of his wives were living, And as soon as they saw Krishna, they were seeing their lords after so many months. And although they were overflowing with affection for their husband, they were feeling very shy. And so they were all controlling, their feelings. And their eyes were welling with tears, So the Goswami explains how they embrace the Lord, all the Lord's Patnis, how they embrace the Lord. They embrace the Lord within their hearts first, Then next they embrace their Lord through their eyes. And then they embrace their Lord through their sons. What does that mean? Krishna entered the palaces and Krishna's sons embraced Krishna. So, seeing that, the mothers felt that, through their sons, they were embracing their husband. At first they embrace Krishna in their hearts, then they embrace Krishna through their eyes. So, again, this is not something mundane husband-wife kind of embrace. We should understand that. This is the ultimate sign of prema that a jiva can have towards the Supreme Lord Krishna. And this is what is being expressed by the wives of Krishna in Dwaraka. And they were trying to restrain their feelings, as I said, the tears were welling up in their eyes, but they didn't want to shed tears. And it is said that, Yadyapyasau parshvagatho raho gatas tadhapi tasyangri yugam navam navam pade padeka virameta tatpada chalabi yachir yashrir najahadi karhichit. Although Lord Sri Krishna was always by their sides, and with each one of them, he was exclusively alone, but they are feeling tathapi tasyangri yugam navam navam. But even then, they felt that every time they felt that Krishna's feet is newer and newer. Tasyangri yugam, angri yugam means the 2 feet. Navam navam, they felt it newer and newer. And it is said, the goddess of fortune, although by nature always restless and moving, could not quit the Lord's feet. Lakshmi, she is also called Chanchala because she doesn't like to stay in one place. But that Chanchala, she is always, the only place where she finds it difficult to leave is the lotus feet of the Lord. You see? So the only place that Chanchala will not leave is the feet of Chanchalapati. Who is Chanchalapati? The Supreme Lord. So Sudha Goswami is saying, so what woman can be detached from those feet having once taken shelter of them? So these are all expansions of Lakshmi, the 16,108 queens of Dwaraka in Krishna's Aishwarya Bhav. They are all expansions of that Hladini potency of the Lord only. But then here, this is Manava Leela. So Sudha Goswami says, which woman will ever leave that lotus feet once taken shelter there? That Chanchala, Lakshmi Devi, who never likes to stay in a place for too long, she's always fidgety and fluttering. She herself, once she got hold of the Lord's feet to do Padasevanam, she never left. She never leaves. So the queens of Krishna in Dwaraka, they were also feeling that way. Although Krishna would spend exclusive time with them, but they always felt that the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Lord's lotus feet, they got newer and newer experiences from that. And the Lord, it is said, he had returned and from Hastinapura with a pacified mind because he had finished killing the burdensome kings. Those kings who were burdening the Bhumi Mata were all killed. So the Lord was pacified. And although the Lord did not participate in the war directly, but in the previous chapter we saw how the Kuru Vamsha, like bamboos, against each other, when they rub against each other, there is fire, and that is how forest fires are caused. So due to friction between them, the Kurus had a great war and there was a fire and almost everything was destroyed. So in this chapter it is said that although the Lord did not participate personally in the removal of the burdensome kings, he had acted like the wind in the forest between the bamboo trees. You understand? That is, the Lord actually acts as a wind. So in wind, the 2 bamboo trees are moving against each other. Create fire. Who created fire? The 2 bamboo trees rubbed against each other, fire was created automatically. But who moved the 2 bamboo trees? That is the Lord. So just as wind is causing friction between bamboo trees and that way it ultimately causes the fire, here the Lord actually, he was the one who created that hostility and engineered the war. You see? although he was never directly part of it. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he has come to this planet, simply by his internal potency, Atma Mayaya, Sambhavamya Atma Mayaya. And he seemingly enjoyed with queens as if in a mundane manner, it is said. That Supreme Personality of Godhead who comes Atma Mayaya, it is seeming, Sa Esha Naralokesmin Avatirna Swamayaya Reme Stri Ratna Kutasto Bhagavan Prakrito Yatha, looked as if, Prakrita, looked as if very mundane, So, if Krishna is enjoying sense objects with his senses, then how can we say that he is beyond matter? Can we say that? But Sutta Goswami is saying, Krishna appeared by internal potency and transcendently enjoyed actually. Remes Triratna Kutasto. Bhagavan Prakrito looked like it was mundane, but actually the Lord's all engagements with his queens were transcendental. And Sutta Goswami goes on to explain that the transcendental character of the Supreme Lord, Uddhama Bhava Pisunamala Valguhasa Vrindavaloka Nihato Matano Piyasam Sammuhya Chapam Ajahat Pramadottamascha Yasyendriyam Vimatitum Kuhakairna Sekuhu. It is explained that the queens, they had beautiful smiles and they had attractive glances, and it was very exciting, and they were so spotless that they could even capture Cupid, and make him to give up his bow, He has got, Kama Bana, he has got Pushpa Bana, it is called, that is how Cupid creates lust. So, even Cupid can be attracted by these queens. And it is said that even Lord Shiva, even Lord Shiva can be attracted by this. But their magical attractions could not agitate the sense of the Lord. So the Goswami is clarifying that, that their beauty, the queens of Dwaraka, their beauty was so much that Kamadeva can become frustrated, Shiva may become captivated, but it could never agitate the senses of the Lord. Further goes on to say that Lord is completely unattached and is completely unaffected by anything that is material. But conditioned souls like us, we think that Krishna is one among us. It is actually our conditioning that makes us think that Krishna is, just a Manava like you and me. And that conditioned state is epitomized by Duryodhana, when he tried to act smart when Krishna went to Hastinapura to speak peace, He went as a Shanti Duta, asking for half the Rajya, then okay, no, then 5 villages, no, 1 village, no, 5 houses, no, 1 house, no, all this, And Duryodhana was thinking that, I am making this Manava run helter-skelter. But what happened? So, the ignorant living entity, conditioned living entity, may think that Krishna is an ordinary human being. But that is only because of ignorance. Factually, the Lord is not attached, not affected by anything that is material. Yetadishanamishasya prakritistopi tadgunaihi na yujyade sadatmastair yada buddhistadashraya. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Yetad ishanam ishasya prakritisto api tadgunaihi na yujyate sadatmastair. Similarly, Yada buddhis tadasraya. The devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by material qualities. So two things that are being cleared by Srimad Bhagavatam here is that Yetad Ishanam Ishasya Prakritisto api tadgunaihi na yujyate. So Lord Krishna, even though he is seemingly in contact with the material modes, he is not affected by material nature. Similarly, those people who have taken shelter of the Supreme Lord also, for them also, the material qualities do not affect them. And he concludes the chapter by saying, even the queens of Lord Krishna, the simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. So a very nice upama, a very nice similarity or comparison is drawn by Sutta Goswami here, saying that the simple wives of Krishna in Dwaraka, they thought that this person is exclusively my husband and I am making him run around me. But little did they realize that, how expansive their husband is, how unlimited their husband is, his unlimited glories they could never fathom. Just like he says, the atheists think that there is no supreme controller, but actually Krishna is the supreme controller, but the atheists think there is none. So like this, the glories of Dwarakavasis, their love for Krishna and how they received Krishna into Dwaraka is explained in the 11th chapter of the first canto. So this concludes the 11th chapter of the first canto. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Granth ki jai. All participants can unmute themselves and ask questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Few clarifications, Prabhu. Number one, from the concluding lines of Sloka 31, we understand from Srila Prabhupada that Lord is never equal to or less than any human being, however powerful he may be. No one, therefore, is either equal or greater than the Lord, because he's always great in all respects. Now, coming back to Sloka number 11, should we understand that the meaning of the words like Vishnibi Atma Tulya